Hello everyone, and welcome to part 3 of my personal finance series, which is ways to keep more of the money you're earning. If you followed along with steps 1 and 2, you should now know your current net worth. You should be motivated to increase your net worth. You should have a decent idea of where your money is going because you did a budget, because you looked at your previous statements, your previous spending statements, and were able to determine with real data the money coming in and the money going out. And you probably learned, like I did, that you just have to make more money. There's no way around it. We've got to make more money. And sometimes that's not as easy as you would hope, right? It's actually a lot easier and a lot quicker to find money in your own budget. It's like giving yourself a pay raise. You just have to know what to look for and what to cut. So I'm going to be trying to give you some tips, some ideas, something to jog your creative juices so that you can look into your own finances and see what makes sense for you. So ways to save. When I ran through this exercise, what was really eye-opening for me was how much money we were actually spending just in groceries. It was insane how much money we were spending. So that really got me thinking as to how we can save money in this area, because it seemed to be the area that we had the most control. And what I've learned is, and this is pretty much the same with everything, is that convenience equals money. There's a cost to convenience, call it a convenience charge. There are some things that you just spend a little extra money for because it just makes our lives so much easier. I began to look at superstores as opposed to our local grocery store, which is just around the corner. Superstores here in America, like we have Targets, Walmarts, Super Walmarts. Then we have the exclusive clubs like Sam's Club and what's the other one? Costco. And I began to think about how that would fit into our grocery needs and how I could take advantage of it to save money. Now you can save a ton of money on these superstores, but there's just some things that I just don't want to buy at these stores because a lot of times the stuff will sit on the shelf for a long time, a lot longer than the grocery stores, where the grocery stores will cycle them out more frequent. But I do the bulk of my shopping at these stores, at these superstores, to save some money, and then I buy things like milk, eggs, meat, perishable items at the local grocery stores. I just feel safer doing that. But what you buy in the superstores as opposed to grocery stores is up to you to decide. We also have these stores here, they're called dollar stores, where everything is really, really super cheap. You get what you pay for, but if you buy the right things, you can really save a lot of money. And some of the things that you might want to buy there are like paper products, paper plates, stuff for parties if you're throwing a party, or decorations for holidays, pots and pans, cookware, cleaning products. You can save a ton of money on these items at these dollar stores. And that stuff you don't have to go that frequent. You may go just once a month, stock up on these things, save a ton of money, and then do your other shopping in your grocery store for your perishables. Again, some of the things you probably don't want to buy at a dollar store is perishable items, milk, cheese. I don't even think a lot of them even sell that there. Sodas, you don't save any money. I noticed at the dollar stores, they're probably just the same amount of money as you can get at any grocery store, especially for the off-brand sodas. Pet food, vitamins, any kind of medicines, you probably don't want to get at a dollar store. Another thing I found with shopping, really keeping an eye on my grocery store shopping, is that we were buying a lot of pre-cut vegetables, stuff that that's just convenient, like packaged salads. And like I said, convenience equals dollars. Anytime you have anything that's prepackaged, like prepackaged snacks that are in individual bags that just make it easy for you to just grab and go for people on the run, you're going to pay more for that than you would buying it, in one bag or one container and separating it yourself. I began thinking, what did our grandparents do? Did they buy organic goat milk? Did they buy prepackaged vegetables, prepackaged snacks? No. They cut their own vegetables. They made their own stews and broths and gravies. They did it themselves. It doesn't take that much more time to do, and it can save you some money in the process. Now remember, the goal is to not be cheap, but to just be efficient. There are just some things that are worth the extra convenience. You just have to get in a habit of not opting for convenience every single time. Learn to choose from the things that you just can't live without.
I just got the credit card statement in the mail.
So?
How did you spend $380 on iTunes?
And learn to weigh that with the cost of what your goals are. Is this convenience worth not paying off my debt in the time I want to pay it, or by the date that I want to pay it off? So that's pretty much it for groceries. It's an area where you can really do a lot of cutting. You just have to look at how you're doing your shopping and be creative and find ways that saves you money but doesn't cut too much into your personal convenience factor. So another way to save a ton of money I found is through the interest that we were paying in credit cards. Interest you're paying in anything. Anytime you can cut down the amount of interest that you're paying, it could save you hundreds if not thousands of dollars for the year. So whenever possible, look at transferring balances to a lower cost credit card, a 0% credit card, something with no fees, and you'll save a ton of cash. And we'll get into that later. I'm going to be talking about, I'm going to have a video dedicated to credit in this series, so be on the lookout for that. Other ways to save. Always look to try and bundle services.
We have another way to help you save.
Oh, really? How?
By bundling.
Like in our area, we have a cable company that will handle your home phone, your alarm system, your internet. It's all bundled together. And now they're just starting with cell phones. You can actually have your cell phone bundled in with the services and save a bunch of money. You can also look to see if you can bundle your house insurance with your car insurance with the same company. And if possible, pay it off right away, either with a credit card that hopefully rewards you in points, because you usually get a huge discount by doing that, by paying your insurance in full upfront. Healthcare costs is a huge problem here in the United States. We're paying, even if you have a employer-sponsored plan, we saw our rates skyrocket in the past couple of years. There's also have been a lot of fraud in healthcare, which causes the doctors and emergency rooms and hospitals to increase the amount that they're charging. So it's really a cascading problem. One of the ways that we can combat this is through MCAs and HSAs. What an MCA is a medical cost advocate. Now, I'll leave a link in the description for one that I know of, but you can Google it to find ones in your area that can help you. And basically what they do is, if your bill is, let's say, over $1,000, you call these guys up and they will negotiate the healthcare bill for you. Now, if you ask these advocates, they will tell you every single one of the bills that they come across, they find errors. They either charge too much or they were for services that they didn't even do. Let's say you only got 5 stitches and they charged you for 20. Stuff like this is very common, I kid you not. So it is well worth it to use these advocates. An HSA or an FSA is a health spending account. It's great if you can take advantage of that if your employer offers it. FSA is a flexible spending account. There's a small difference between the two. What it is an account that will deduct money. Either it will deduct money from your paycheck automatically, pre-tax. It's money you're not going to pay taxes on. And it goes in an account that you can use strictly for medical expenses. You pay your co-pays with it. You can set up bill pay with your, if you have a bill, let's say, you can say, well, I want to spend $10 a month, and set up auto bill pay with the doctor or hospital, and they will automatically deduct $10 a month until it's paid off. And every month, new money from your paycheck will go into the account, so it's all on autopilot. Or some of them aren't quite as convenient as that, and you have to fill out some paperwork, and you pay the cost up front, and then they reimburse you with the money from the account. And keep in mind, you can always call the people that you owe money to and negotiate yourself. Quitting smoking and other expensive vices. Thank God I quit smoking. It was the best decision for my health that I think I've probably ever made. Cigarettes now in my area is anywhere between $75 to $100 per carton. Some people smoke like 2-3 cartons a month. That's a car payment, guys. And if you have any other expensive vices like gambling, strip clubs, you know who you are. That kind of stuff can really put a dent in your finances. Get it under control, or do yourself a favor and just cut it out completely. Then there's stuff where you can cut back, where it's kind of cliche, but it does add up over time. And that is, you can simply just make small changes, like pack a lunch instead of going out to eat. In some cases, going out to eat with your friends and colleagues are a good thing because you're networking. Maybe you're meeting with clients. In that case, it's definitely a good thing, and not worth being a penny wise and dollar foolish. And then, of course, the old just stop drinking lattes. A cup of coffee at Starbucks can run you like $6. And if you're having 2 or 3 a day, that can add up pretty quick. Again, remember, the goal is not to be cheap, is to be efficient. And sometimes you just have to choose what's more important. What conveniences can you live without in order for you to meet your goals and make your goals of either getting out of debt or saving for retirement or whatever your goals are? You need to figure out what's more important. Generally, downsize your lifestyle in general. Are you a 3-person family living in a 5-person house? Downsizing your house could save thousands, tens of thousands in the long term, in the long scheme of things. Look for ways in your life and in your spending where you can reduce or just simply live without. This is one of my favorites. Learn to fix it yourself. YouTube is your friend. I can't tell you how many things I've fixed just by looking it up on YouTube and look at 2 or 3 different how-to videos. I fixed 3 TVs, one of them twice. I fixed the TV for my parents. I fixed my dishwasher. I fixed my refrigerator recently. And I fixed my washing machine. This must have saved me thousands of dollars. And it wasn't that hard.
More money, more money, more money.
Just watch a few YouTube videos, figure out the part you need to replace, buy it on Amazon or eBay, and maybe $100 later your problem is solved. Now, it's not for the faint of heart, and you need to have some mechanical inclination. You can really save yourself a ton of money on service costs and unnecessary insurance and warranty payments. Okay, so here's some bonus tips that are really going to help you out in this process of trying to save money and keep the money that you're earning, or at least keep more of it. You want to be the CEO of your financial life, the CEO or the CFO. CEO is Chief Executive Officer. CFO is the Chief Financial Officer. Basically, you're going to be the person in charge. What do these people do? What does the CEO do? What they do is every month they look at their income of the business and they look at their expenses and they figure out, how am I going to increase my income while reducing my expenses? They call their suppliers. They say, hey, I'm paying too much for this. XYZ company over here is willing to sell it to me in bulk for 10% cheaper. What can you do? And by reducing that overhead, it's like generating money. It's like printing cash. So we're going to do the exact same thing right now. All right, so going back to our monthly cash flow, our budget spreadsheet. Hopefully you did this. If not, go back, watch the video again, download the spreadsheet, fill it out, at least do it one time. So using these numbers here in this column for August, we're going to go through each one of these and we're going to use our creative mind to find ways to reduce the payment. Okay, and it does take creativity, where in the first process when we were getting all the numbers, that was left brained, right? We had to be accurate about our numbers. Now we're using our creative brain to figure out ways that we can pay less. So let's see, starting with mortgage payment. We're paying $1,100 in mortgage, right? So you may say that, well, it's $1,100 every month. I can't reduce it. It's the same. Well, think about, what does that entail? What's in that mortgage payment? Is your insurance, taxes, and escrow included in that mortgage payment? If so, can you save money on the insurance part of it? Of course you can. You can do so by shopping around. You can call your existing insurance company and renegotiate. Tell them, look, I just think I'm paying too much. I just saw a Geico commercial the other day and it had the little lizard on it. And he said he could save me a ton of money. What are you going to do for me? Credit card payments. Is there any way you can reduce the amount of money you have to pay in credit cards? You can, if you think about the interest you're going to be paying over the course of that loan. And again, we're going to look at ways of reducing credit card debt and paying it off a little bit later on. Student loan, fuel. Can you shop around? Look at one of those applications that tell you where all the cheapest gas is in your neighborhood and in your area, and maybe go to those gas stations as opposed to the more expensive ones that's on the way to work. Maybe we can do that. Clothing, is there anything that we can do to save the amount of money that we're spending in clothes? Maybe shop somewhere else. Maybe buy online. So I don't have to go through all of them. You get the idea. This is the point. You want to at least do this once every 6 months, if not every 3 months. Just come to your expenses and just go through the process. Go through the creative processes of going to each expense one by one and think, how can I save today? Because things change. Something that may not be available to you now to save money suddenly becomes available next month. So we've learned we've got to be the CEO, the CFO of our financial life. We're learning to negotiate everything. Everything is negotiable. Even if you don't think it is, try to get something. Even if you can't save money, try to get something more for the money that you're spending. Loyalty is seldom rewarded. What I mean by that is, years ago, probably in our parents' and in our grandparents' time, they would shop at the same store. They would know everyone by first name. They would get discounts. Their kids would get discounts for shopping there. Their kids' kids would get discounts for shopping there. Loyalty was rewarded. It was appreciated and it was rewarded. That's just not the case anymore. When you call up for support on a lot of your products and services, chances are you're either going to get a robot or you're going to get somebody in some other country somewhere who's reading off a script and doesn't really care if you cancel their service or not. It's a shame that things have degraded this far, but it is the world we live in. But the upside is that we can use this to our advantage. For instance, I was with one cable company. I didn't like the service and how much I was paying for the service. I called them up, says, I own every service that you currently offer. I've been a faithful customer for probably about 10 years. Paid every bill on time. I'm just paying too much. What can you do for me? I'm sorry, sir. We just can't offer anything at this time. Really? Okay. So another company is offering a huge deal for 2 years to sign up with them. So what do? I sign up with them. 2 months later, I get a flyer from the first cable company offering me a huge deal for signing up. Now, you may have experienced this yourself. Companies are more willing to be flexible and give you huge discounts for signing up with them as a new user than to just keep your business. It's sad, but it's true. Use it to your advantage. Unfortunately, the same concept applies to your job. Career experts agree that you're more likely to get a pay raise or a promotion by leaving your current job and applying elsewhere. Years ago, it was very common for employees to start at the bottom and work their way up to eventually being either high-level management or even owning the company at some point. You just don't hear about those stories anymore. Another great tip you want to do is automate your finances. Now, this won't save you a lot of money, but it sure will take a lot of the financial pressure off. Ramit Sethi is a financial guru who's an advocate of this. I'll leave a link in the description to a video which I found really helpful. He advocates, instead of budgeting, to create a comprehensive spending plan where you're taking the money that you're earning and you're dividing it up by percentages, and each of those percentages will go into different accounts. And you set up those accounts to pay on autopilot. He advocates using a credit card to do this, as long as you're paying your credit card in full each month. I think that's a little bit risky, but it is an interesting concept that I invite you to look into yourself. But keep in mind, you can always call your services, your power company, your cable company. You can always call all the different services that you pay bills to and set up auto bill pay. And you can also change the dates that you pay those bills on. So let's say they want it paid by the 5th. You can say, hey, can I pay you on the 8th because I get paid on the 6th? Or whatever the case may be. Whatever makes sense to you, you have control over that, so might as well take advantage. I advocate doing pretty much everything you can do yourself if it means saving you money. But in some cases, when it comes to finances, if you're not a financial expert, it's always best to use professionals, real estate agents, CPAs, even advisors, but you got to be really careful with advisors. It's very widely known in the industry that financial advisors are out for themselves, and they will steer you into products that they make money on. So whenever dealing with a financial professional, always ask them, do you have a fiduciary duty to advocate for me as opposed to anyone else? That's the magic word, fiduciary duty. That means they're obligated to take your needs into account before anyone else's, including themselves. Free education. I can't stress enough how important it is to ask questions, especially when it comes to these financial professionals who are in the business. They're experts in their fields. If you want to learn more about real estate, you call a real estate agent and you ask questions. Now, of course, they're motivated to answer your questions because that means doing business with you in the future. I'm in the IT world, the information technology world, and a lot of times I have to call support to help me fix certain issues. Now, of course, the company pays for support, so these people are obligated to help me. But what I do is, while I'm asking them about the question at hand, and they're helping me with that, I also take that opportunity to ask them other questions, sometimes about things that have nothing to do with the product that we're paying for. And a lot of times you'd be surprised how willing they are to help. You can really learn a lot by someone who's an expert at what they do just by taking an interest and asking questions. Ask for discounts and upgrades. Always ask for a discount. Make it a challenge. Make it fun. See what you can get. The next time you go out to eat with your loved ones, I want you to try this. When you walk into the restaurant and they ask you, how many please? You tell them how many people are in your party and you say, oh, and by the way, we're celebrating today. And that's it. Sometimes they'll ask, oh, congratulations, what are you celebrating? Maybe you have an anniversary coming up this month. Somebody in your party has a birthday this month. Maybe your kid got a good score on a test at school. Maybe you're just happy to be alive. Whatever it is, you're celebrating. Now, avoid the compulsion to lie and make up something like, oh, it's my blah, blah, blah birthday, or it's our, whatever anniversary. Think of a reason, be creative. Think of a reason why you would be celebrating that day. And remember to repeat the exercise when your waiter or waitress comes over and greets you. Now, when it comes for asking for discounts or upgrades, or even if you're showing up someplace to complain about a particular product or service, You must come to the acceptance that the person behind the desk, the person on the other side of you, has 100% control of whether or not you're going to get what you want. You have to learn to accept that. So it is in your best interest to make that person like you, no matter what. I don't care how upset you are at their company, at their service, at their product. That person, for the next 10, 15 minutes, however long you're going to be talking to them, that person is your best friend. For example, let's say you are extremely upset with the service you're getting from your cable company. Yes, I'm going to pick on cable companies again. You go down to the office to complain. The person behind the desk says, "Next." You walk up and you say, "How are you doing today?" And they say, "Fine, how are you doing today?" And you're going to say, "Not very good, I'm afraid. But I have a funny feeling, and I can tell when I walked up. I just know that you're going to be able to help me. I just can tell." And you know what? Even if you can't, that's okay too. Now what this does is it takes the person off guard. First, they expect you to complain because they probably had people complaining all day. And here you come saying that, I just know that you're going to be able to help me out. And you say it sincerely. And you end it with, "Even if you can't, that's okay too." And you mean it sincerely. This immediately opens up a channel of rapport. It enables them to start liking you and want to help you in your situation if they can. And it takes the pressure off. If they don't, they know you're not going to jump down their throat. You'd be surprised if you do this correctly, how many hoops that person will jump through to make you happy. Another thing I do is when I used to take a lot of trips to Vegas every year, or once a year I take a trip to a convention in Las Vegas. And the first time I went, I learned this trick on a website where you slip a $20 bill hidden between your license and your credit card when you go to check in. So what I would do is I'd order a room within my budget that at least has a view. So I know I'm going to have a view of the Strip. It's maybe not the top tier room or a suite, but it's something that's nice and affordable. So the trick is when you get there, you slip them this sandwich, they call it the Vegas sandwich, and you tell them, you ask them for an upgrade, and then they know that they can keep the 20 as a tip. And I've experimented with this a few times because I've gone every year for a couple of years, tried it at different hotels and with different amounts of money. What I found is $20 is the sweet spot. If you do $50, you're not going to typically you won't get anything more than if you just gave 20. So you might as well just give 20. Or you can try it without giving anything. But, if you're going to spend a lot of money in Vegas, $20 isn't going to hurt. And it's nice to be tipped. People remember that, and they always try a little harder. So anyway, I walk up and I say something like, "Hey, I come to Vegas every year. I always stay at this hotel, even though I can pick any hotel on the Strip. And I come here because you guys every year take really good care of me. So what I want you to try to do is, if there's anything you can do to make my stay more comfortable, it would really be appreciated. But if you can't, that's okay too." And I hand them the sandwich and I keep it open and let them do whatever they can do. The first time I did it, I'll tell you some of the things I was able to get as far as upgrade with that measly $20. I got upgraded from a normal queen bed to a suite with a magnificent view of the pool and the Strip. I got a cot added to the room because I had a young kid with me at the time and we needed an extra bed. They usually charge, I think, $25 a night for the cot. They included that free. They didn't charge me for an extra adult that I had coming with me on my trip, which usually they charge extra than the people that you put when you sign up online. I got complimentary champagne, chocolates, and strawberries sent up to the room at my discretion. So all I had to do was call up and say, "Okay, we're ready, send it up." And on top of all this, he stuffed my welcome package with tons of vouchers for buffet, which is basically free food. that lasted pretty much my entire trip. So I paid very little on food. I was so impressed with all of these upgrades that this person gave me, all because I left it open. I didn't go demanding this and demanding that. It was all in the way that I asked. I was so impressed that I gave him another $10. I said, I want you to have this because you impressed me so much with your level of service, and I won't forget it. Now you may think, if you're in Vegas, you're not going to be in the room that much. So what difference does it make? Let me tell you, when you have a nice room to come home to, especially when you're starting your trip out, it sets the tone for the rest of the trip. Just to give you an example of the difference between doing this and not doing this. One year I went with another couple, friends of ours. They got there ahead of me. And I told them, since it was their anniversary and it was their first time in Vegas, to do the trick, do the sandwich trick, and tell them that it's their anniversary. Make sure they know. Now they had a couple of two and two teenage kids with them. They got there before us. They didn't do what I said. They didn't say what I said to say. And they got stuck in a small 2-queen room with no view. They were so far away from everything that they had no internet access. And they paid a lot more money than I did for the room. And they went through a discount site. So trust me, I know what I'm talking about. This works. The following year, when I went back to the same hotel, I now have a different clerk. I'm talking with the clerk and I noticed the guy that helped me last year was in the back walking around, and he seemed to be walking around with authority. So dealing with the new clerk that I'm working with, I use the same trick, give the same $20, and I use the same technique. I tell them I come here every year, even though I can go to any hotel on the strip because you guys always take care of me. And I made a big gesture and pointed to the guy that helped me last year and said, that guy right there took such good care of me last year. It made my entire trip. So of course he notices this and walks over. I shake his hand. I tell him, you probably don't remember me, but last year you were in this very spot and you took such great care of us. We had such a great time. I always choose this hotel because of that. He tells me, oh really? That's great. I'm so glad we were able to help you out. Oh, by the way, I was promoted to manager. So he turns to my clerk and he says, make sure you take care of this guy. Give him a nice upgrade. So that takes me to cultivate a winning smile. Now I know this sounds cheesy, but it's true. And it's really more about the smile. It's really about the attitude. The smile will help you get in the attitude it takes to be able to win friends and influence people. And it's something that didn't come to me very naturally. And it's something I've worked on. So even if it feels cheesy, I want you to smile at everyone. Smile as if nothing can go wrong today. Smile as if no matter what you do, you're going to win. And people will respond in kind, especially these people that are in a position to help you get what you want. And finally, we need to drop our money stigmas. This is something that I realized was a problem for me. And it's a learned behavior. I got it from my parents. You never talk about money. You never share how much you make, how much credit you have, how much you paid for your house. It's really nonsense. I don't know where it comes from, but we need to drop that stigma. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to share the issues and challenges that you're going through, especially with people you care about and people that you know care about you, because they're in a position to help you. Not to give you money, but to give you advice. And I can't tell you how many times I was struggling over something where I shared it with a friend and they were able to point me in that one thing that made all the difference in the world. Okay, so that's going to be it for part 3, ways to keep more of the money you're earning. I know it went a little longer than I thought. Hopefully you got some good, useful information out of it. Feel free to leave a comment. Let me know what you're thinking of this series. Also, if you have some tips that you'd like to share, please feel free to share it in the comments below. Stay tuned for part 4, where we're going to talk about ways to make more money. Thanks for watching. Stay profitable, my friends. See you next time.